Do you love beef? A lot of people love beef, unless you're vegetarian, I guess. But anyways, a lot of people do not love American beef. So we're going to be checking out this video here by the channel The World to Explore. 10 reasons why the world bans US beef. So somehow this video only has 42 views. So go over there and check this out, guys. Give this video some more views. I did a video reaction similar to this recently by the channel Type Ashton, and it was called The Real Reason Why No One Wants US Beef, something like that. Well, anyways, she threatened me with a copyright strike on that video, so I ended up unlisting it. So this is going to be a replacement reaction, I guess. Let's check it out. Thanks for watching with me.
Most people don't realize how deep the divide runs between American and European beef. In the United States, beef is a fixture, big steaks, burgers, and ranches stretching across the Midwest. Yet step inside a supermarket in Berlin or a family kitchen in Paris, and something stands out. American beef is almost completely absent. Did you?
Well, I mean, a lot of it also is because, like, you know, they have their own cows over there, right? So, like, what do they need our cow meat for? Cows aren't scarce.
You know that lobster, chicken, and certain American cheeses are also missing from most European shelves? Imagine looking for Texas ribeye or Nebraska strip in a butcher shop in Lyon.
I didn't know that it was a specific thing. I've heard of ribeye and strip steak. I guess I've heard of New York strip steak. Never heard of a Nebraska strip steak. Okay.
Staff often don't recognize the names, and the cuts are different. This video explains 10 reasons U.S. beef is excluded from so many global markets, even in places where beef is popular. Every fact is based on trade documents, industry reports, farmer testimony, public records, and regulatory filings. The aim is to show the real, unfiltered realities. No marketing spin, just facts.
Well, also, there's a lot of gross hormones in U.S. beef, and those hormones go to the person that's eating the beef, right? It passes through trickle-down effect kind of thing, and it ends up in a person's body, and it's not healthy. And most of the world understands that. And, of course, our beef is of a lower quality. A lot of our cows are kept in these barns, and you know, they don't really do much. They're just in a barn, and they eat like these little pellet things. And, you know, the rest of the world mostly has cows like this out in a field eating grass. Much healthier, much tastier beef. Less hormones, less weird chemicals.
Before we continue, make sure to subscribe. Number 10, hormone rules. In a European deli, nearly every cut carries a hormone-free or organic label. Most Americans are used to supermarkets full of conventional beef, about 92% raised with growth hormones.
It sucks, but yeah, that's true. That's what we eat. And, like, I mean, it tastes good, but that's what I'm used to, right?
U.S. regulators allow hormones if final tests show safety for consumers. In contrast, since 1989, the European Union and United Kingdom have banned U.S. and Canadian beef that uses common hormones like estradiol or testosterone. EU scientists believe these hormones could increase the risk of cancer, especially for children and the immune-compromised. That first year, U.S. beef exports to Europe fell 59%. U.S. officials argued their products were backed by decades of food safety research, but the EU kept its hormone ban in place. Today, this zero-tolerance policy still blocks almost all American beef from the European market.
And the U.S. food safety test thing that it was just talking about, most of that is like, the results are skewed. You know, they set up these tests to, you know, like, the reason that we have all these chemicals and preservatives in our food that's banned in other countries, and here they're like, oh yeah, but these tests say they're safe. Well, Europe has tests that say they're unsafe. Right. So clearly what they're doing here is they're setting these tests up in a way that's going to kind of favor a certain result that they're looking to get. Right. And, you know, and that's based on the fact that they want this to pass. They want it to look safe so that they can use it, make money, and all that kind of stuff with the growth hormones, because then they can get cows bigger, fatter, thicker, you know, faster, and then have a higher turnover rate. That's basically what it's about.
Maybe you've noticed this yourself. What's one food restriction overseas that made you reconsider what you buy? Number 9, traceability gap. In Australia, beef processors track.
Oh, yeah. This is where, yeah, in certain countries, yep, it has to be like a label like where you can trace it back to like, this is the butcher that cut the meat. This is the farm that the butcher got the meat from. This is the farmer, he got this from this other farm. It's like a whole chain of command. You can trace it all the way back.
Each animal from birth with electronic tags. These records follow every cow from the farm to the supermarket. Since 2015, Australia's top import standards require full traceability from birth. Australia imports about 700,000 cattle from Canada and 1.2 million from Mexico each year, but requires the same tracking. The US has some record-keeping systems, but they're mostly paperwork and do not match Australia's electronic tracking.
Which is crazy because, this is supposed to be the greatest country in the world, as a lot of people say, but like, we're kind of lacking behind in a lot of regulation like that. Like, why can't, if Australia can do it, there's no reason why we can't do the same thing. Why can't we have the same system if it works better, right?
This shortfall makes it extremely difficult for US beef to qualify for Australia's main markets. For large-scale US ranches, adapting to this system would be costly and complex. The difference is more than a technical detail. It's a major roadblock. Number 8, disease concerns. In December 2000.
Okay, so I guess the US beef is riddled with disease, which could be. They're just packed so tightly in those barns. Things spread.
2003, the US reported its first case of mad cow disease.
Yeah.
The response was swift. Many countries, including Australia and New Zealand, added new restrictions on US beef. About 4,500 kilograms of meat were recalled. International regulators studied US safety procedures and raised the bar for future imports. The US beef system introduced more safeguards and eventually regained Category 1 status. But many export barriers remain. For most Americans, food safety standards seem straightforward. In global markets, one disease outbreak can change export rules for years, if not decades.
Yeah.
Number 7, certification burden. U.S. farms trying to export to Europe face a difficult process.
What is this? I wonder what a certification burden. Oh, because it has to be certified and they don't want to certify it?
Only hormone-free beef can be shipped. As of March 2025, just 14 American farms or feedlots have the needed USDA export certification out of over 32,000 operations nationwide.
That's crazy. Only 14 farms. 14 farms, that's it, are the only ones that do not have hormones and stuff like that in their cattle. So basically, almost every single time that I eat beef, it's probably chock full of hormones. I'm not eating super high quality organic, as they call it here, which organic here is actually the low quality baseline in a lot of other countries, which is crazy. But here it's the expensive premium stuff, and I'm not eating that. So hormones it is, I guess. Don't have a choice. Yay, America.
Less than 0.001%. These farms face layers of record keeping, animal tracking, and on-site inspections to access a small export quota. Most prefer serving the strong U.S. market instead. The costs, paperwork, and time just aren't worth it for most producers.
Yeah.
Number 6, local surplus. Most grocery stores in Munich or Madrid
Is there something in that? I seen the spots,
rarely display beef.
but that was before I seen on the right hand side. So if you see, there's little spots in there. Little spots. I thought it was mold. But then I saw these over here. So then I'm thinking it's just patted up and there's something mixed in that meat. I hope.
From outside their region. These grocery stores in Munich or Madrid rarely display beef from outside their region.
Okay.
The EU and countries like Argentina often produce more beef than they consume. Australia exports 68% of its total beef production. Argentina, despite high per capita beef consumption, keeps a surplus. In Europe, beef is pricier and less frequently eaten than in the US. Local suppliers easily meet demand, leaving little need for imports, especially those that don't match health or quality standards.
Okay, so beef costs more in Europe I knew people eat it less or ate it less. I didn't know it costs more. Probably because it's a bigger animal. It takes more room. And if they're doing like the grass fed thing, then it clearly would take more room. So they're probably eating more chicken and like, you know, smaller animals that take up less room, I guess, right? Okay.
In the UK, 3/4 of imported beef comes from nearby Ireland. Americans are used to affordable, widely available beef, but in many countries, the incentives for imports just don't exist. Number 5, paperwork costs. For the average U.S. cattle rancher, tracking each animal's full history, keeping hormone-free standards, and passing frequent inspections wipes out any profit.
Too much work for the lazy Americans, and it'll stand in the way of them making a ton of money, which I can kind of understand in a way. But the thing is if the system's made that way, and you know, because if you have a company or the reason you're going to want to make money, right? So when the system's made that way, it just forces that to be a thing. So then every company's going to want to do that because they want to make the money. So they're going to want to save time, not do the paperwork, pump it full of hormones, get more cows faster, more beef quicker, more meat out the door. Even if they can't sell it ultimately for the same high quality price as the other, you know, as the high quality beef, because they're pumping out more, they make more in the long run. Right. So I see the incentive there, but it kind of like messes up the health of society. So that sucks. Yeah. But what do you do about it? Right.
American ranches tend to be large, sometimes thousands of cattle. These businesses focus on volume, not individual record keeping. By contrast, European family farms often have hundreds rather than thousands of animals, making documentation more manageable. Shifting U.S. beef to strict traceability would dramatically raise prices at the supermarket. Americans often hear that such changes would hurt the industry, but many still wonder, if Australia and the EU can make traceability work, why not the U.S.?
Exactly.
It's a small detail, but one worth asking. When was the last...
They could just force it. Instead of making it optional, like, oh, well, you can just do this and pump it full of hormone. No, make it a mandatory thing, full traceability.
Last time you saw a major label or price change at your local meat counter? Number 4, trade stalemate. Over 30 years,
What is that? When's the last time you've seen a major price change? All the time. Prices go up all the time. Whatever.
Price change at your local meat counter. Number 4, trade stalemate. Over 30 years, the US and EU have fought ongoing trade battles through the World Trade Organization. Despite one ruling in favor of the US, the European market didn't open as expected. In the end, the EU kept its hormone ban, and the US secured a narrow quota, 45,000 tons of hormone-free beef, much of which is already claimed by other countries. For context, the US produced 12.66 million metric tons of beef in 2022. The quota lets the US export about 33,000 tons to Europe, just 0.26% of its total output.
Not much.
While public ceremonies often highlight trade deals, the basics haven't changed, and access remains tightly limited. Number 3, consumer demand.
Why does that look like pork? Doesn't matter, but...
In most European countries, shoppers look for regionally labeled, organic, or grass-fed beef. At a market in Florence or Vienna, products list exact origins. European cattle eat more grass compared to American grain-fed herds. Organic beef is considered premium, while in the US, it's about 3% of sales. Big fast food chains in...
What do you mean it's considered premium? I thought in Europe, like, everything was basically organic because the regulations don't allow for all the hormones and chemicals. Right?
European cattle eat more grass compared to American grain-fed herds.
Yeah.
Organic beef is considered premium, while in the US, it's about 3% of sales. Big fast food chains in Germany and France like McDonald's and Subway buy only local beef and promote regional supply chains. Americans might be surprised to see how little demand exists for imported US beef, even if it were fully legal to bring in. Number 2, double standards. The trade debate presents a contradiction. U.S. officials criticize European standards as non-science-based, yet defend tough U.S. import rules in other areas. When it comes to traceability and health, Australia and Argentina demand the same from U.S. beef as their own farmers. Nothing extra. U.S. producers call this unfair, but these countries say it's simply holding all suppliers to the same requirements. It's a mindset gap. What U.S. companies see as a barrier, others consider a baseline rule. By now, you might be comparing it to your own life. What's one food or product that was suddenly banned or restricted where you live? And how did people respond? Number 1, domestic.
One thing that was banned or restricted, huh? Can't think of anything.
Priorities. The key issue isn't just why other countries avoid American beef. It's also about what Americans expect foreign markets to accept. Since the 1950s, the U.S. built its food system on scale and efficiency, large ranches, feedlots, and innovations that prioritize low prices and wide supply. In Europe and Australia, beef production focused on smaller farms, regional sources, and high levels of public trust in local food. These differences go far beyond what ends up on the dinner table. They reflect deep cultural values and regulatory histories. For Americans, seeing a meat counter in Lyon or a supermarket freezer in Berlin can highlight how much tradition and law control the foods people eat. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.
All right, so not a bad video. I feel like they probably could have deserved a little bit more views than 42. So I guess this is the 43rd view and the 4th like on that video. So go ahead and jump over there to the original video. Let me switch back. Original channel, links down below. The World to Explore. So give them a view, right, guys? And hit like and subscribe on this video. It really helps out a lot. And it only takes like a second of your time. You guys have a super fun, awesome day. And I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye.